Welcome to World Rare Coins, the ultimate place where small change turns into big treasure. If you love rare and valuable US coins, you're in the right spot. Let's uncover the hidden gems hiding in your pocket change.
Top 1 today, we're diving into one of the most talked about, widely circulated, yet secretly valuable coins in American history, the 1776 to 1976 United States bicentennial Washington quarter. Now, this might just look like an ordinary quarter at first glance. You've probably seen dozens of them, that iconic image of George Washington on the front, and the drummer boy proudly standing on the reverse side. But don't let appearances fool you. Some of these seemingly common coins have a story to tell, and a price tag that will leave you stunned. Before we jump into the juicy details of what makes some of these quarters worth thousands of dollars, let's first take a trip back in time. This special edition quarter was released to commemorate the 200th birthday of the United States, the bicentennial of American independence. Rather than minting coins with the usual date, the U.S. Mint issued quarters stamped with the dual date 1776 to 1976, honoring 2 centuries of freedom. It was a historical moment, and the Mint wanted these coins to be both functional and symbolic. Over 1.6 billion of these quarters were struck between 1975 and 1976, which makes them very common. So you might be asking, if there are billions of them, how could they possibly be worth more than face value? Well, that's where things get exciting. You see, while most of these quarters are indeed common, a small number of them were struck in limited runs with unique features, errors, or made from special materials that make them incredibly rare and highly desirable to collectors today. Let's talk about those features that turn an ordinary bicentennial quarter into an extraordinary collectible. First, the material. Most of the quarters were minted in copper nickel clad, just like your regular modern coins. But a select number, specifically those struck at the San Francisco Mint, were made from 40% silver. These were originally sold as part of special bicentennial coin sets and never intended for regular circulation. If you happen to find one of these silver quarters in uncirculated condition, it can already be worth more than 10 times its face value. But we're just getting started. Next up, mint errors. These are the quirks and mistakes that happen during the coin production process. And when it comes to the bicentennial quarters, there are several types of mint errors that have collectors scrambling to get their hands on them. Some of the most sought-after errors include double die obverse. This is when the coin's image, particularly the lettering or date, appears slightly doubled. It's a clear sign that something went wrong during the minting process, and collectors love it. Off-center strikes. These occur when the coin isn't properly aligned during minting, resulting in a design that's shifted noticeably to one side. The more off-center it is, and the more complete the missing image, the more valuable it becomes. Clipped planches. These are coins that were stamped on an incomplete metal blank, often missing a chunk from the side. They are eye-catching and rare, making them top targets for error coin collectors. Wrong metal errors. Occasionally, a quarter was accidentally struck on a blank meant for a different coin, like a penny or a foreign denomination. These wrong planchet errors are incredibly scarce and extremely valuable. And then there's the condition of the coin. In numismatics, the study and collection of currency, condition is everything. A coin that's been circulated and handled for years might be worth a few cents over face value. But a coin that's uncirculated, especially one graded by a professional service with a near-perfect or perfect score, can fetch serious money. Take, for instance, a 1776 to 1976 bicentennial Washington quarter graded MS 68 or higher. These coins are so pristine, so perfectly preserved, that they're essentially in the same state as the moment they left the mint. Finding one like this is incredibly rare. And because so few exist at that level of perfection, collectors are willing to pay a premium to own one. Now, here's where things get truly jaw-dropping. Among all the bicentennial quarters that have surfaced over the decades, a very small number have sold at auction for absolutely astonishing amounts, and it's not just because of their condition. Some of them had ultra-rare mint errors, or were struck on silver planches when they shouldn't have been. These off-the-books errors are the crown jewels of the Washington quarter world. One such example, a 1776 to 1976 bicentennial quarter with a rare combination of features, including a dramatic mint error and pristine condition, caught the eye of collectors at a prestigious auction. After a heated round of bidding, the final hammer price left everyone stunned. That coin sold for an unbelievable $84,000. Yes, you heard that right, $84,000 for a single quarter. A coin that, at face value, wouldn't even buy you a pack of gum. Just imagine finding that in your pocket change or tucked away in an old coin jar.so. What does this mean for you? It means it's time to check your coin collection. Pull out that old jar of quarters from the back of your drawer. Examine every bicentennial quarter you find. Look for silver edges, doubled letters, off-center designs, or anything that just looks off. And if you think you've got something special, consider having it professionally graded. It could be the best investment you've ever made. Remember, not every 1776 to 1976 quarter is worth a fortune. Most are worth their face value, 25 cents. But a select few, those rare unicorns with perfect condition or minting anomalies, could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars. So next time you get a quarter in your change and see that little drummer boy staring back at you, don't just toss it in your pocket. Take a closer look. Because you might just be holding a piece of American history and a hidden fortune. Top 2. We're taking a closer look at a seemingly ordinary coin that has the potential to be worth a small fortune, the 1967 Washington quarter. Now, at first glance, this coin might not look like anything special. It's old, sure, but it's not from a particularly flashy year like a centennial or a major historical event. But don't be fooled. The 1967 Washington quarter has secrets hidden within its shiny, or perhaps well-worn, surface. Secrets that could make it one of the most valuable coins in your collection. Let's start by stepping back into the history of this coin. The Washington Quarter series began back in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. It became so popular that it was adopted as the standard design for the quarter moving forward. Fast forward to 1967, and the US Mint was in the middle of a coin production frenzy. Just a few years earlier, the country had experienced a serious coin shortage, which led to some important changes in how coins were made. One of those changes. Silver was removed from quarters in 1965. That's right, before 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver. But after that, the mint began using a copper-nickel-clad composition instead. So by the time we got to 1967, Washington quarters were no longer being struck with silver. But here's the twist, some extremely rare exceptions might have made it out of the mint. Now, let's talk rarity, the kind of rarity that makes collectors' hearts race. You see, 1967 was one of the few years where no mint marks were used at all. That means you won't see a little D for Denver or S for San Francisco on any coin from that year. Every 1967 quarter was simply marked by the year, nothing else. This was part of the mint's attempt to discourage hoarding and speculation during the coin shortage. However, this also means that identifying certain minting errors from that year becomes even more intriguing and much more valuable. But what really sets the 1967 Washington quarter apart isn't just the lack of mint mark. It's the errors. Oh yes, the glorious, unintentional mistakes that turn a simple piece of pocket change into a collector's dream. Let's go through some of the most fascinating and sought-after errors found on 1967 quarters. First up, we have the double die obverse. This occurs when the coin is struck more than once with slightly misaligned dies. On a double die coin, you might notice doubling in the words, Liberty, In God We Trust, or even in the date, 1967. These errors can be subtle, but once spotted, they instantly boost the coin's value. Next, the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank isn't properly aligned with the dies. The result? A coin that looks like part of the design is missing or pushed to one side. The more off-center it is, especially if the date is still visible, the more valuable the coin becomes. Then there's the clipped planchette error. This is when a piece of the metal blank is missing before the coin is struck, often resulting in a crescent-shaped chunk being gone. These clipped coins are eye-catching and always draw the attention of serious collectors. Another rare and thrilling find is the transitional error. Now, remember earlier when I mentioned that silver was phased out in 1965? Well, it turns out that some coins struck in 1967 were accidentally made on leftover silver planchets from earlier years. These are extremely rare, but if you have a 1967 quarter that looks and sounds different, perhaps a little heavier or with a shinier silver appearance, you might just have one of these ultra-rare transitional error coins in your hand. And let's not forget about strike-through errors. These occur when a foreign object, like a piece of cloth or grease, gets between the die and the blank, leaving a mysterious impression on the coin's surface. While not as dramatic as a double strike, these still hold special value to era collectors due to their uniqueness. Now, beyond the eras and composition mysteries, the condition of the coin is just as important. Collectors place a huge premium on coins that are in near perfect or mint state condition. A 1967 Washington quarter that's been preserved in uncirculated condition, with all its original luster and no wear, can command significantly higher prices. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, and the closer you get to 70, the more impressive your coin becomes. A 1967 quarter graded MS 67 or higher is already an exciting find. But one graded MS 68 or even MS 69. That's the dream for serious collectors. These coins are nearly flawless and extremely hard to come by, especially for a high production year like 1967. What does this all mean for you? It means you might want to start checking your change. Dig through that old coffee can of coins. Look inside that dusty coin album you got from your grandparents. Because one small, overlooked coin from 1967 could be hiding in plain sight, and could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Now comes the part you've been waiting for. The shocking value reveal. Among all the rare 1967 Washington quarters, one in particular has turned heads across the coin collecting community. This specific coin, featuring a dramatic mint era, incredibly sharp details, and near perfect condition, was sent to auction where it lit up the bidding floor. Enthusiasts from all over the world vied for this numismatic masterpiece, and the final sale price, that humble 1967 quarter, once worth just 25 cents, sold for an astonishing $81,000. Yes, you heard that right. 81,000 United States dollars for a single quarter. Imagine slipping that coin into a vending machine or dropping it in a tip jar. That's the magic and mystery of coin collecting. You never know which little piece of metal might be hiding a treasure trove of value and history. So if you're a collector, a history fan, or just someone who loves the thrill of a good mystery, take a closer look at your coins. There could be a tiny fortune waiting for you, just sitting quietly among the change in your pocket. Top 3. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of American coinage to uncover the hidden secrets behind a very special piece, the United States Washington quarter from 1973. You might think it's just another quarter, but trust me, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. If you're a coin lover or collector, listen closely, because this story is full of surprises, rare errors, and a value that might just blow your mind. So grab your magnifying glass and get ready. You're about to discover why some 1973 Washington quarters are worth way more than their face value. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932, honoring the nation's first president with his timeless profile on the obverse side. The year 1973 falls within a fascinating period of American minting history. By this time, quarters were no longer made of silver. The mint switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition starting in 1965. Despite this, the 1973 quarter carries a legacy of design and production quirks that make it unique, especially to the keen eye of collectors. Now, the 1973 Washington quarter might look like any other coin in your pocket, but there are a few key reasons why some of these coins are extremely valuable. And it all starts with rarity and error. One of the most notable things about the 1973 quarter is that it was produced in massive quantities at 3 different mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But here's the twist: while most of these coins were made with the standard copper-nickel-clad composition, there are extremely rare varieties and mint errors that make certain 1973 quarters extraordinarily valuable. In fact, among these billions of coins, some have unique characteristics that can make them collector's gold. Let's begin with mint errors, the unintentional mistakes during the production process that have collectors rushing to add these rare pieces to their collections. One fascinating error found on some 1973 quarters is the double die obverse. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin accidentally stamps the design twice, causing doubling effects on the lettering, numbers, or even George Washington's profile. If you look closely, you might see a shadow-like doubling on the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," or even the date, 1973. This subtle but striking flaw increases the coin's desirability and value immensely. Another eye-catching mint error is the off-center strike. These coins were struck with the blank not properly centered on the die, resulting in a partial or skewed image. Imagine a Washington quarter where part of the eagle or Washington's face is missing, or pushed off to the side. these off-center quarters are highly prized because of their rarity and visual uniqueness. The more off-center the strike, the higher the value, especially if the date remains visible. Then there are the clipped planches. These are coins where the metal blank wasn't cut properly, leaving a small clip or chunk missing from the edge of the coin before it was even struck. These coins have a distinct look, often resembling a coin with a crescent-shaped bite taken out of it. Collectors love clipped planches because they are tangible mistakes that tell a story of the minting process, and their rarity means they often fetch impressive sums. The 1973 Washington quarter also has rare die cracks and strike-through errors. Die cracks occur when the metal die used to stamp the coin develops a crack, which then transfers a raised line onto the coins it strikes. Strike-through errors happen when debris gets caught between the die and the blank, leaving unusual marks or impressions on the coin. While these may seem like flaws, to collectors they are like fingerprints, unique and highly collectible. Beyond errors, the condition of the coin plays a massive role in its value. The grading scale for coins ranges from poor all the way to perfect mint state, and each step up in grade dramatically increases the coin's worth. A 1973 Washington quarter that's been heavily circulated might only be worth a few cents over face value. But one preserved in uncirculated condition, with its original luster and sharp details intact, is a completely different story. Uncirculated 1973 quarters graded MS 65 or higher by professional grading services attract serious attention in the numismatic world. At these high grades, coins look as fresh as the day they were minted, showing none of the wear and tear that dulls the surfaces of everyday change. Collectors and investors alike seek out these pristine coins, knowing their rarity in such condition drives their price up. Here's where things get truly exciting. Among all the 1973 Washington quarters ever minted, a very small handful with rare errors, exceptional condition, and unique features have made headlines by commanding extraordinary prices at auction. Imagine holding a 1973 Washington quarter that displays a perfectly centered double die obverse, no signs of wear, and eye-catching strike details. Or perhaps a coin with a dramatic off-center strike, making it a one-of-a-kind showpiece. When such coins hit the auction block, the bidding can be fierce, and prices can soar. One such remarkable coin, embodying the rarest of errors and an almost flawless state of preservation, stunned collectors worldwide when it sold for an eye-popping amount. The final price? A staggering $79,000, yes, 79,000 United States dollars for a single quarter that once jingled in pockets across the nation. It's a testament to the passion and dedication of coin collectors, and a reminder that history and value can sometimes hide in the smallest places. So what does this mean for you? If you have a stash of quarters, especially those from the early 1970s, it's time to take a closer look. Examine them under good lighting, check for doubling on the letters, look for off-center images or odd-shaped edges, and above all, consider having your most interesting finds professionally graded. You never know. Buried among your everyday coins could be a rare gem waiting to make you a part of the exciting world of numismatics. Top 4. We are diving into the world of American coinage, focusing on a coin you might have overlooked in your pocket change, the United States Washington quarter from 1981. At first glance, a 1981 quarter might seem like just another piece of everyday currency, something you'd use to buy a soda or a parking meter ticket. But if you're someone who loves the thrill of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, you're going to want to listen carefully. Because beneath the surface of this seemingly ordinary coin lies a world of rarity, unique errors, and potential value that can surprise even seasoned collectors. So, settle in, grab your loupe, and let's dive into what makes the 1981 Washington quarter a coin worth your attention. First, a little background. The Washington quarter has been an American staple since 1932, introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Since then, this quarter has gone through various design changes and minting shifts. By 1981, quarters were firmly struck in the copper-nickel-clad composition, a change that happened starting in 1965 when the U.S. Mint stopped producing quarters with 90% silver. Despite this, the 1981 quarter retains all the classic features that make Washington quarters beloved by collectors: the proud profile of George Washington on the obverse, and the majestic eagle on the reverse. So what makes the 1981 Washington quarter special? Well, it boils down to rarity, specifically, the rare errors and exceptional conditions that make certain coins highly sought after. Let's start with minting errors. These mistakes, often caused by mechanical issues or human error during the coin production process, create variations that are scarce and fascinating. Collectors prize these anomalies because they tell a story, one of imperfection in a world often obsessed with perfection. One of the most notable errors you might find on a 1981 quarter is the double die obverse. In this type of error, the coin's design is struck twice in slightly different positions, causing the lettering, date, or even Washington's portrait to appear doubled or blurry. For example, you may notice a shadow effect around the words Liberty or the date 1981. This doubling is often subtle, but once you spot it, it's unmistakable and incredibly valuable. Double die coins are some of the most exciting and rare finds for collectors, because each one is unique and the result of a minting accident that only happened a limited number of times. Another exciting error type on the 1981 quarter is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank isn't properly aligned in the minting press, so the design is stamped off-center. The result is a quarter that looks like it has been partially cut off or has part of its design missing. Off-center strikes are visually striking and rare, especially if the date and major design elements are still visible, making these coins highly desirable to collectors. Then there's the clipped planchette error, when the metal blank used for striking the coin is missing a portion along its edge. This creates a crescent-shaped clip on the coin's rim, and it's another error that collectors love because it's a clear sign of a minting mistake. Clipped planchets are rare in any coin series and tend to bring premium prices at auction. There's also the fascinating world of die cracks and strike-through errors that can add character and rarity to your 1981 quarters. Die cracks occur when the die used to stamp the coin develops fractures, which leave raised lines or bumps on the coin's surface. Strike-through errors happen when foreign objects like grease or metal shavings get trapped during the striking process, resulting in unusual marks on the coin. These imperfections might seem like flaws, but to collectors, they add uniqueness that can significantly increase the coin's value. Now, rarity isn't just about errors. The condition of the coin plays an enormous role in its worth. Most coins you find in circulation have been handled countless times, resulting in wear that diminishes their value. But quarters that have been carefully preserved, especially those graded by professional coin grading services as mint state, MS, or proof, can be worth hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars. A 1981 Washington quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition, graded MS 65 or higher, already commands attention among collectors. Such coins boast sharp details, no signs of wear, and the original luster that makes them stand out. A coin graded MS 67 or MS 68. Now you're talking about an incredibly rare specimen that collectors would pay top dollar for. Let's talk about a few special varieties as well. Sometimes the 1981 quarter was struck with slight variations in die polish or minting pressure, resulting in differences in the sharpness of details or subtle changes in the coin's finish. These minor varieties can also add to a coin's collectible value. And of course, quarters struck at different mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, each have their own collecting niche, especially those from the San Francisco Mint, known for producing proof coins with mirror-like finishes. Now, here's the real kicker. Among all the 1981 Washington quarters ever minted, a very rare few with extraordinary error combinations, near-perfect conditions, and special varieties have captured the imagination of collectors and investors worldwide. One such coin, featuring a striking double die obverse combined with pristine mint state condition, recently made headlines in the numismatic community when it fetched an unbelievable price at auction. What was that price, you ask? $77,000 United States dollars. Yes, that's right, $77,000 for a coin that most people probably overlook every day. Imagine that, a single quarter, once worth just 25 cents, transforming into a numismatic treasure worth more than many luxury cars. So what does all of this mean for you? If you're a collector, this is a call to action. Take a close look at your quarters, especially those from the late 1970s and early 1980s. Use a magnifying glass or loupe to examine the letters and date for signs of doubling. Check for any irregularities along the edges or in the coin's center. And if you spot something unusual, consider having your coin professionally graded. You could be holding a rare piece of history and wealth in the palm of your hand. Top 5. We're focusing on a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance but hides an extraordinary story and value, the United States Washington quarter from 1996. If you're a coin lover or just curious about rare and valuable coins, you're going to want to pay close attention, because this 1996 quarter could surprise you in ways you never expected. So, get comfortable and enjoy the ride, because this video will open your eyes to the fascinating world of coin collecting. The Washington Quarter is a beloved piece of American coinage history. First issued in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, the quarter has remained a staple in U.S. currency ever since. By 1996, the quarter had seen several changes in design and composition, but it retained its iconic image of George Washington on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse, a symbol of America's strength and freedom. Now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1996 Washington Quarter special? After all, millions of these coins were minted and circulated. The key to understanding the rarity and value of this coin lies in the details, the specific minting errors, the coin's condition, and those subtle variations that can transform an ordinary coin into a collector's prize. Let's talk about minting errors first. These are unintentional mistakes made during the coin production process. Sometimes, these errors create rare and valuable varieties that collectors desperately want to own. One of the most fascinating errors associated with the 1996 quarter is the double die obverse. This occurs when the coin's design is stamped twice, but with a slight misalignment. The result? The letters, numbers, or even Washington's profile can appear doubled or blurred, as if the image has a shadow. You might see doubling around the word, Liberty, In God We Trust, or even the date, 1996. This subtle but striking error is highly sought after, as double die coins are relatively rare and showcase a unique moment in the minting process. Another interesting error is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank coin isn't properly centered in the press, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted off the coin's face. Off-center strikes can vary in degree, some are just slightly off, while others are dramatically misaligned, making the coin look like it's missing a chunk. These coins are extremely rare, especially if the date and main design elements remain fully visible, making them highly collectible. There are also clipped planches, coins that were cut improperly from the metal sheet before being struck. These coins have a noticeable crescent-shaped clip missing from their edge, making them instantly stand out. Clipped planches are rare errors that add a unique flair and increase the coin's value. Apart from these errors, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in determining its worth. Most coins from 1996 have been circulated, meaning they show signs of wear from everyday use. But a quarter that's been carefully preserved in uncirculated or mint condition can be incredibly valuable. Coins that retain their original shine, have crisp details, and no signs of wear are much harder to find, especially as time passes. Professional grading services like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, rate coins on a scale from poor condition to perfect mint state. A 1996 Washington quarter graded MS, 65 or above, meaning it's in near perfect condition, is a prized find among collectors. Such coins maintain all their original luster and sharp details, making them stand out from the countless quarters that have circulated. In addition to errors and condition, some 1996 Washington quarters were minted with slight design variations or unique die characteristics. These subtle differences can sometimes make one coin more valuable than another, especially if they are documented and recognized by numismatic experts. Now, here's where things get exciting. While many 1996 quarters are worth their face value or just a bit more to collectors, a rare few that combine multiple desirable traits, such as being a double die obverse, struck off-center, or clipped planchette, and preserved in superb condition, have made headlines in the coin world. One such remarkable coin, exhibiting one or more of these rare qualities, recently fetched a jaw-dropping sum at auction. Stunning coin enthusiasts everywhere. What was the final price? $75,000 United States dollars. Yes, $75,000 for a single 1996 Washington quarter. Imagine that, a coin you might find loose in your change or tucked away in a drawer, now worth more than many luxury watches or even some cars. This incredible value speaks volumes about the passion and dedication of coin collectors worldwide, and the magic that lies in discovering rare pieces of history. So what does this mean for you? If you've got any 1996 quarters or coins from the mid-90s, this is the perfect moment to take a closer look. Grab a magnifying glass or coin loupe and inspect them carefully for any doubling, misalignments, or unusual edges. If you spot something interesting, consider having your coin professionally graded. You could be holding a hidden treasure. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the world of the 1996 Washington quarter. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare coins, unique errors, and how to spot valuable currency, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an exciting update. Remember, the next time you reach for a quarter, it might just be worth $75,000. Happy collecting, and I'll see you in the next video.